Good evening. Good evening,
Good
gentlemen.
evening. Good evening.
Good,
Evening.
good evening to good evening to all of our followers and people online. We don't know what Mel was doing. I think he's having an attack. But this is live from the cave. You notice we're missing one. Shawn Mason is tied up in my basement because I've taken over the show. I got tired of his mouth, so we've eliminated him. No, seriously, he should be on in a few minutes. But we're getting started because we start at 9 p.m. So quickly, I want to welcome back Mel Roberson, aka the voice of reason, which, that's doubtful. And then Robert Hazzard, the lover of life. It's in his contract that we have to say that. So that's what I'm saying. But we want to really welcome our special guest, Mr. Matthew Lee. And I want to give you a chance, Matt. Yes, Mel.
And Glenn Murray, the facilitator of BS. But
Actually,
an all-around good guy.
The leader. I love the sandwich technique there, Mel. Very good, Coach Mel. Anyway, we want to welcome Matthew Lee. Matthew, welcome to the cave, man. Thank you for being here. Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself really quick?
Thanks for having me. My name is Matthew Lee. I'm an entrepreneur, real estate investor, father of three. Just glad to be here tonight.
And a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Mel. No, we're really glad to have you. Matthew was on a talk show with me and Rob a few weeks ago. He was outstanding, and we thought he'd be great for the cave, even though he makes all of us look really bad because he's a really good-looking dude. So now all the focus is going to be on him. Robert's already filed a complaint with management. But that's okay. We're still going to do this show. So we're going to get started. We actually want to get started right now and really talk about current events and what happened in Atlanta. Tragically, the murder of 8 people in Atlanta. And I would love to kind of get everybody's opinion on that and just kind of how they feel about it and just some of the things that have come out with the killer and his statement of why he did it. Which personally I think is BS. But Matthew, we'll let you start. Just kind of give us your opinion on it.
I would say I don't really like to pay too much attention and dig into these, rabbit holes. Like evil's evil, stupid, evil people do stupid, evil things. And, what we got to do is focus on what it is that we need to do for ourselves, for our family, for our community. In many cases, there's not much that we're going to do to change what an evil, stupid person decides to do. And I think that sometimes it can be a distraction, especially in a time period like right now, when there's so many challenges that we deal with in a day-to-day situation. I don't want to necessarily take light off of it, the impact that it's made to those family and those people. But I think that for most people, they're dealing with something on some level. And, that's going to continue to happen. Life is going to continue to happen. But these things are just outlier incidents. So as best we possibly can is let's not allow ourselves to be distracted, take our focus off of doing the things that we can do. At least that's how I look at it. And I try to stay, off of social media and being dug into these rabbit holes or, the news. They're always trying to put some spin on it to, get your attention.
Yeah, no, definitely. Robert, what are your thoughts?
Matthew said already, if we can avoid it, let's avoid it. But I think that we do have to face it head on and think about how we can make a difference as it relates to racism and things like that. I mean, I worry about that because it happened in Atlanta. As you know, my daughter's in Atlanta, so I'm always concerned about keeping up with what's happening in the news in Atlanta and things like that. But it needs attention. We need to stamp it out if we can in terms of racism.
Yeah, Mel.
You guys are so matter of fact tonight. This is so structured. This is so.
Let's go. Opinion.
What do you think about?
Yeah.
Okay, Bryant Gumbel. I think.
I'm worried about management.
My take on it is a couple of things. I agree with everything the gentlemen have said thus far. the statements from the police chief were extremely disappointing to me. He had a bad day. Um, like, what I do when I have a bad day? I go home and I have a drink. You know what I mean? And I binge watch something stupid where I can be mindless and not think about the bad day that I have. My bad day does not end with me taking the lives of other human beings. So that's one thing. The second part that I'll say is, and there's no justification for anything that he did, but I've seen a few posts about them now understanding how we feel on a daily basis when we're judged for things or looked at a certain way based off of a skin color or our ethnicity. And not that it's right. And then, I've heard people say, well, you can't just say that or whatever. I mean, why not? There's a comparative analysis for everything else that happens in the world. I'm not saying I agree with it. I definitely don't agree with it, but it's an interesting perspective how the allies are with the Stop Asian Hate and all of this other stuff. And one young lady, I saw a post where she was talking about how Asians follow the Asians that the store that she shopped at, they followed her around in the store, and how she was treated at nail salons and stuff like that. And of course, with any ethnicity, you're going to have some people who don't represent everybody. So that's the second thing I'll say. The third and final thing that I'll say is it's so interesting how the apprehension of a criminal takes place when their skin is the same hue as the police officers that are apprehending him. And not that he should have been killed. I'm not saying that at all either. However, I do believe that if he looked a little bit different, he would have been treated extremely different as they, went to find him and all of this other stuff. So that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you, Forrest. One thing that was interesting, I lived in Atlanta for a little while, so where the killings occurred, it was pretty interesting for him to have, I needed to fix my sex addiction by going and kill people. So first, that's a BS answer. But then let's think about where he did it at. So he went from Woodstock, Georgia, which is probably a 25 to 30-mile drive. The first killings were in Woodstock, and then he moved over to Piedmont Road, which I lived near Piedmont Road. I lived there probably 10 minutes away from that location. So it was a 25 to 30-mile drive getting across Atlanta traffic to fix your sex addiction. So you decided you were going to go shoot up, this area and that area. That's like going from Deerfield to Chicago Ridge or something here in Chicago and targeting specific Asian massage parlors with Asian in the title. Fix your sex addiction. You go to Pornhub, you go to xvideos.com. Don't ask me how I know those names.
You grab your lotion and you take care of your business.
You don't go grab a gun and decide you're going to go to a massage parlor and murder people. So that's not a fix for a sex addiction. That's, that's a hate crime. It pretty much is. So definitely, that's all we're going to say about that, as Forrest already said. So no, that's good. Let's get to something a little bit.
The question I look at is, do we expect the police to say anything different, or did they just show us what we already knew?
Yeah, I mean, that guy, well, the cop that said it already, there was video on Facebook or something, a picture of him holding up a China shirt that was spelled CHYNA or something about a year ago. So you get what you pay for, you get what you.
But do you think that now that all of these things are happening with the police, that we will get some sort of reform or some sort of attention towards that?
In Georgia, I don't know. Chris Rock told a joke. He's like, I love Atlanta, but you know what's 10 miles outside of Atlanta? Georgia. And he's exactly right.
Yeah.
So, love Atlanta to death. Great city.
Me too.
But it sits in Georgia still, and we need to remember that. So anything, past Alpharetta, anything to the north, past like Duluth, Lawrenceville, and anything else that's past Douglasville, which is to the south, heading into Alabama, you're going to find a whole different world than you see in Atlanta. So we have to really understand that. So there's some things that haven't changed. There's some people that still are living in the 60s. There's some people, the otherism of us, Asians, Mexicans, and anyone else that doesn't necessarily look like what people think Americans should look like, has continued for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So now it's almost like every few years there's a group that gets singled out. It was the Mexicans at first because it was the border and it was immigrants and everything else. If you think about it, around 2016, last year it was our year. It was our turn again, and now this year it's the Asians. So there's an otherism that's happening. It's a wave of otherism that is happening across the country that we have to really pay attention to. And we might not want to all be in it together because I know, a lot of people, as Matthew said, I try not to pay attention to Facebook, but the ignorance kind of bubbles up sometimes. It's well, that's their problem and we need to worry about it. No, it's everybody's problem. It's a wave and it's everybody being grouped as an other, so we really need to think about it.
I saw a Korean comedian the other day who was like, if I had a dollar for every time somebody called me Chinese, I'd have enough money to be Chinese. he was like, the Chinese are so rich. He was like, the Chinese are so rich. They bought a virus that they were like, he said, the Chinese are so rich. They did the ultimate gentrification. They got a virus that was named after something Mexican, but now it's the Chinese virus. Like, it was hilarious. I forgot what his whole bit was, but he was basically saying that, man. And it's crazy how this country uses or pits nationalities against each other to hide the hate that there is. And when you think about it, even in white culture now, when you look at white people, all of them nobody's from here, bro. Like everybody is something else. Italian, German, whatever. Nobody's from here. So I don't know. Crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing. All right, let's go to everybody's favorite topics, relationships. Time to talk relationships. I know we need a drum roll or something. This is the early in the relationships.
While y'all talk about relationships, I'm gonna go make a plate real quick.
Oh, that's so convenient, Al. That is so convenient.
I can hear you though. So whatever it is, I'll be back.
He's gonna cook.
I know he probably is in there cooking or working out. You know what? I think Mel has weights in his kitchen. So he lifts weights with one hand. He's curling with one hand and flipping a pan with the other. That's what he's doing.
Hey, with his shirt off too.
With his shirt off, you got to make the pecs jump. Right. He thinks he's living out his Hulk Hogan dreams. You remember Hulk Hogan used to make the pecs jump? That's Mel. That's what Mel. He thinks he's the Black Hulk Hogan or something. That's what I think he's doing. All right. When Mel gets back, we're gonna start talking. We'll save a spot for Mel. He can't get out of this one. In the news, Tyrese's wife issued a statement. I didn't read it. I got this from one of our producers. There he is. He's back. Tyrese's wife gave advice to women. I don't know if marrying Tyrese qualifies you to give advice, given that situation. But his wife said, "Don't date successful men because successful men don't put in the effort. They have too many options." Mel, what say you about that? You're a successul man. How many options do you have, Mel? Yes, you're very successful. Melevation, yes. Everybody knows about Melevate. You've been very inspirational this week, by the way. I have to point that out. I've been reading your stuff and actually feeling inspired.
Me too.
Of course, then we got in the green room and you insulted me and it was back to normal. Now
you called me with food in my mouth. I can't answer.
I know, very sexy. Yeah, whatever.
No. So here's the deal, right? For her to make that type of blanket statement, I think is ridiculous, personally, for a couple of reasons. To say you don't date somebody because they have too many options makes no sense at all. You know what I mean? That's like, it's just stupid. So she's recommending that you date somebody who's not successful, and if they're not successful, it's generally for a reason: lack of ambition and drive, lack of a plan, lack of a whole bunch of other things. So you would rather deal with somebody that has no options and you're their only option, or would you rather deal with somebody who potentially does have options but they choose you every day? You know what I mean? Like, to me, that would be more. That's like me saying I don't want a woman who's driven or I don't want a woman who's attractive because they don't have a lot of options. If you're not driven and you're not attractive, I would rather be with somebody who's driven and attractive, but they choose me every day. That's going to be more appealing to me than somebody who, you know, I'm getting because they don't have anywhere else to go.
I want a woman with low self-esteem. I need that bar low. I need to lower that bar. So, Matthew, what do you think about it?
When I hear a statement like that, I think it reflects more on the person that said it than anything else. So they're just taking you into their world. Like, all right, here's my limiting beliefs. Here's my blind spots. And they're, reflecting that to the world so we can see how they think about things. I think that's just her perspective. And, you can either take that and decide whether that works for you or decide whether that won't work for you. Most women I know, that won't work for them. They want a successful man.
Robert, you're a successful man. You're a lover of life. Tell us how you feel about this.
You know what? I am a successful man, and I am a lover of life. But I think that I think it's attention grabbing. That's really what I think it is. I think it's attention grabbing. She knew that she was getting with, a celebrity, Tyrese, good guy, and so now because the relationship didn't work, now she wants to figure out how she can get some attention back to her. Because we talk about people being in our DMs all the time, right? Or at least in my DMs. But, that could potentially help her with, people getting in their DMs and stuff like that. So I really think it's attention grabber. I think as Mel and, Matthew have already said, low self-esteem. Come on now. Get out with that stuff.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute. We've been invaded. He untied himself from the basement. Oh my God, he's back.
Hey, I didn't invade y'all. I live here too. With y'all. I didn't invade you.
I announced that you were like kidnapped and tied up in the basement, that I had taken over the show. Yeah, I had announced that. But
you only wish that. If that was true, Mel is probably the only one that would try to come save me. The rest of y'all would have left me out there.
And come on, brother. You just getting here, Shawn, because
you think Mel would try to save you. You think Mel would try to save you.
By fraternal obligation, I'd be on my way.
Absolutely, with a whole bunch of other cats too.
Mel would do to you what happened to Idris Elba in The Wire. He would do to you what Wood Harris did to Idris Elba in The Wire. Just when Omar is about to off you, you try to make a deal, and he go, "Your own boy Mel did you in." That's what would happen to you, Shawn.
That would be bad, man. I was listening to you all, of course. Matt, how you doing, man? Do you prefer Matt or Matthew?
What's Matt? No, I only go by Matthew.
Matthew, okay. There you go. That says it right there. Yeah. Hey, Rob, he got me right together. Didn't he get me right together?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was listening, man, and I feel like Mel was about to say exactly what I would have said, which is, that's equivalent to saying men shouldn't date attractive women. Because attractive women have all these options, and they're always going to have attention and get attention. So I really think at the end of the day, man, that was just her taking a shot at dude. That was her way of taking a shot at dude. And, hope that there was enough of a criticizing crowd on the female side to not think that and just ride with her in that whack ass ideology. Because I think that was a pretty dumb statement,
Yeah, I think somebody said it in the chat room. Yeah, no, really, Shawn, you're just so timid.
Y'all act like that ain't normal.
I know, really. Somebody said it in the comments. Take the L. You're mad, and you're trying to get an amen corner to agree with you. That's basically what it is. You're a little bit bitter. I hate to say, yes, women, y'all get bitter. You don't like that term, bitter women. I don't care, because it's true. Some of you get really bitter, and you took an L. You lost. You made the wrong choice, or he made the wrong choice, or both of you made the wrong choice. So get over it, move on, and go on. It's not about successful men and you dating successful men and they turning you down. That was just some made up stuff.
I think ladies do bitter better than we do.
They do.
That's just my opinion.
But for those bitter ladies, I will help you with that. That's what I do. I solve
Wait a minute.
problems. You know.
Wait a minute, time out. The show was going so smooth.
Oh.
Robert, really? So, are you hanging out? Are you hanging out the sign for a new business now? First it was Love of Life, and now it's Comforter of Women. Can we pop that on the screen? Comforter of Women. Thank you for the phone number. So, for those of you that need comfort, cue the slow music. Never fret. You took an L. It's okay. Robert is here for you.
L's
Robert
exist.
Hazzard, the comforter.
Robert Hazzard from
L's
the Hazzard
exist.
Group.
L's exist to be taken, and we all take them. I have taken a handful of them in my day. I would imagine there are some awaiting me. Even now.
Oh, Shawn.
Even now.
Shawn, you've only been on 3 minutes.
Hey, that wasn't self-deprecating.
3 minutes.
That wasn't self-deprecating. It wasn't.
Mel, I need you to call that one. What will you call it?
That's just life.
It was
I'm
a
just
general
saying.
statement. It was
Thank
a
you,
general
Mel. Thank you.
statement.
Yeah, see that? See that?
I think it was no. I think he was heading down the road. He hadn't
No.
turned completely, but
y'all
he veered in
gotta
that
make
lane.
sure. Wait a minute. Y'all got to make sure Matthew understands what's going on here, because he's looking at y'all like,
Yeah, because
why y'all,
Matthew's like,
why y'all jumping on dudes so bad? Right. You
We're
know.
not jumping on there.
So I have a history, Matthew, of admittedly saying self-deprecating things, kind of being hard on myself, being particularly critical of myself, and my brethren, and as well as the viewing audience at this point, is working diligently to help me turn that around, where I'm not so critical of myself. And so now, you know, Glenn has dialed 9-1 and he's waiting for the opportunity to push the other one, you know, whenever he thinks that I'm being self-deprecating. So I invite you to put your foot up my ass if I do it, just like they do. You family now, so you know you can beat me up if you see the need as well. Just be fair, you know, be fair.
It's just like the life alert. If the older person stumbles, the alert goes off.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah, so basically when I got it set on stumble. I don't even have it falling. I don't want him to fall.
What I heard him say was, this is how he gets attention. Y'all called him out on how he gets attention.
And Matthew, here's the funny thing. I've heard that before from a friend of mine, and on everything I love, as they say in the hood, that's really not it. I think it's because I have an issue with ego and anything that comes off as ego, and I'm so hypersensitive to it that I do too much to not seem like there's ego present. I kind of overshoot it. Whatever, Roger. Yeah. So, but that's fair. I've heard a female friend of mine was like, "Oh, this is him fishing for compliments." I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm really not. Hey man, did we talk about the vaccine at all?
No, we didn't.
I wanted to talk about that, man, and what you guys are hearing, feeling, experiencing, thinking about. You know, I know some of you guys might not even want to divulge, you know, where you are with it or whatever. I will say this: I'm better about it than I was maybe a month ago. You know, I wanted to definitely see what it was going to do and make sure, you know, nobody I knew grew a leg out of their back, you know, or nothing like that. My family has taken it. A lot of my friends have taken it. Sometimes you hear stories of side effects or whatever. They're usually short-lived, but I haven't heard any horror stories. Of course, the anti-vaxxers are taking every opportunity they can to misconstrue any story that comes out in the media, which I think is so it's so unfortunate. You know, it's almost like when we talked about how Denzel said people don't care to be right as much as they care to be first. You know, right. So when Marvin Hagler died, I saw somebody saying, you know, you all pay attention. Marvin Hagler died from the vaccine. Meanwhile, his family is making statements saying, don't believe that. That's not what happened.
They said the same thing about Hank Aaron.
Right. You know, so it's just like, you know, people are so quick to push their agenda, especially if they're conspiracy driven, that
Wait.
it can really, yeah.
Meanwhile, they're not talking about Trump took the vaccine, right?
Man, Matthew, I don't even believe that dude is human anyway, because he is the only president in my lifetime that I've seen do that job and not age a day.
Well,
Every
that's
other
because
president,
the other people that have been in office actually cared about their jobs.
Yeah, doing the job is the
that's
key
one
phrase.
element. I think it's because he's not human. My brother says he's a meat suit. He's like an evil spirit, and that body is the meat suit that he's wearing. But yeah, to me, man, he didn't age not a single day. Deidre Burgess says she had her second shot 36 hours ago. She had the Pfizer shot, no side effects. Good for you, Deidre.
Good
Glad
for you.
about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. My parents had it. My dad and my stepmom, and they're coming. They had both shots, and they're fine. And really happy about that. They're excited about just being able to circulate a little bit more now. And I've talked to some other people who've had it. I know Jamie Gill, who's one of the people who follow the show. She's had it because she works in the medical field. So I know quite a few people. I haven't heard a lot of bad stories about it from the people who've had it. So
yeah, me either.
Matthew, what are your thoughts on it? Matthew, what are your thoughts on it before Mel kicks in? What are your thoughts on it?
I think one, I respect everybody's right to do what's best for them, and I don't think somebody should be judged either way. It just do what's right for you, and don't judge somebody else for what they feel is right for them. And I think that ultimately this is an opportunity for us to just show respect, but we all got to be cautious. It's just like, you grew up in the hood, like you're going to be cautious no matter what. You're not just going to go think that you bulletproof because you took a shot.
Right.
Now it's not time to necessarily start, doing everything the way we used to do them. Be cautious. Because the other thing, I didn't know a lot about it. And then I heard that just by getting the shot, being vaccinated, you still can spread the virus.
Absolutely. My understanding is that the vaccination really is about how badly the virus would attack your body if you got it. So the vaccination is really designed to make sure you aren't a fatality if you catch it. That's my understanding. But I actually posted, it's funny that you would say what you said, because I posted a couple of days ago that I wish we would normalize letting people do whatever the hell they thought was best for them and not be bullied about it. Because a lot of times people don't understand that's what they're doing on social media. When you come out and try to bash people for choosing to take the virus, and you're bullying. It's cyberbully. You can't bully me because I'm a grown man, but I'm saying in theory, that's what it is.
They don't sit outside McDonald's and bully people for eating McDonald's.
Right.
In
America with the food that we eat, if we worried more about other things, the impact of this virus probably wouldn't be as devastating as it is.
Absolutely. Mel, I know you're getting ready to say something, man.
Yeah,
I cut you off.
And I think it's a two-way street too, because while algorithms dictate what gets seen, there are people on the other side of it too that, I'll use your term, Shawn, bully to a certain degree or extent. People that choose not to take the virus. You one of them, are you a conspiracy theorist? Are you and it's like, no, I just choose not to take it for the people that do it. So I've seen it on both sides, and in both cases, I've been like, just respect, like Matthew said, respect their right to choose whatever it is that they choose, and it doesn't really matter if it doesn't impact you directly. And then people are like, well, if you don't take it, you're going to spread it. And if, it's like, that's not necessarily true. That's like me saying, if you do take it, you're going to spread it. You don't know. We still don't know. This is the quickest to market that any vaccine has come. You know what I mean? We've been fighting all types of other diseases forever and a day, and this is the quickest to market that any vaccine has come. So some people are just like, I'm going to sit back and wait and see what happens, and they don't think that they have enough information yet, and that's all right for those people too. Let people do what they do.
Yeah, I've never seen so many infectious disease experts with high school diplomas. Everybody's got an opinion about what they should do, and they can tell you what can happen with the disease and how it happens, and if you drink water, it'll go through your chest and you clear it out. If you take, vitamin D and vitamin C and a combination of that and turmeric, it'll, I've never seen all these. Everybody's an expert all of a sudden.
They are PhD,
public
high school
diploma. Thank you, man.
Even the,
Yep.
you've probably heard, Glenn, in terms of some of the pastoral people as well that have given an opinion about, not taking the vaccine or giving their opinion overall too. So, I mean, it goes from just the grammar school degree, high school degree, and, in the church too.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
And
well, you don't need a degree to be a pastor either. So we can talk about that too.
Right. Baptist
man, you found me out. Okay.
It's Tell the Truth Saturday.
I totally agree with Mel on the fact that it happens on both sides. And this could be my skewed perspective, but I often feel though, like the side that's in the minority is usually the side that is the most vehement about their attitude. So even though you do get some people that are pro-vaccine, the people that are anti-vaccine, which are a smaller number of people, seem to be a lot more hateful about their position. I got to be dumb, and I got, I got to believe the hype, and you got to take me back to Black History School and Tuskegee, and you got to do all of this.
Black History School,
right? It's like, come on. It's just, I just think that that's one of the downfalls of social media, man. And I'm not one of those people that hate social media. I know people that don't even participate in social media and run around saying they hate social media. You don't even know what it's like.
You're not even on, but
you never have a Facebook page. Well, how can you hate social media? But I think that people, misuse it because it gives them a platform, and all they need is one person with the same skewed, twisted way of thinking, and then they have a team and another, and before long, they have their own momentum. And I think that's the unfortunate way social media can be used. It's a little. Yeah. I know we were talking about relationships, man. I saw this thing, and I thought it was pretty cool, actually, man. I saw this thing on Instagram was basically saying Black men and Black women, we didn't beat up on each other long enough. Can we start over? Can we call a truce? And sometimes I wish that we could do that. I'm gonna find the exact verbiage. But I often wish that we could do that. It reads like this: Black men and Black women, can we start over? I'm tired of us finding reasons not to love each other. Truce? ? What do you think?
What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think it would be great. It's kind of like when you wanted to call a gang truce in Chicago, though. you got too many people that want to be tough. You know what I'm saying? You got some of the little Mo's, it's like, nah, I ain't with it. You got some of the little GDs, it's like, this ain't happening. And no matter what the chief enforcer says or the leaders say, it's like, nah, I want to be tough. Some people I found that some people are so used to drama that they don't understand or know how to handle peace, right? Some people are so used to drama in relationships that when they have somebody that treats them right or is peaceful or doesn't want to argue, they're totally incapable of handling that because their ideology of love equates to struggle has to come with it, or disrespect has to come with it, or what have you. So while that's a great idea, overall, I don't know if it'll ever happen. I just am looking for somebody who's like-minded like me, and we can have our own thing going on, regardless to what the Cowboys and the Indians doing over there.
Yeah, I think it can't, as beautiful as the thought as it is, it can't happen for the same reason racism will always exist. And I say that because for every progressive, conscious-minded, non-person of color who has a child and raises that child the right way, there is somebody else having a child raising their child the wrong way. And so it'll never eclipse each other. You know what I'm saying? They both have their own separate paths. And so I find it numerically, I just find it impossible for you to weed those people out. Come on, Matthew, I see you.
Yeah, so while I agree with you, like evil is always going to be evil, there's always going to be good. But I don't think that should not give us hope. And I think that what we really got to do is focus on what do you want and are you willing to pay the price to get it? So for each individual, that price is going to be different. That's just the reality. So we want to say, oh, let's start over. But what does that mean? What are we starting over from? You know, can I get the baggage back that I got from my, previous relationship or from my parents? Can I give that baggage back? Or can I deal with, reconciling that, giving forgiveness? It's one thing to ask for forgiveness, but are you willing to forgive the people in the past that did you wrong? Is the other person on the other side willing to do the work with their baggage? These are all questions that I think we got to have with ourselves before we start making these great proclamations.
And even further, Matthew, you may be, they've nicknamed you the professor. You may be willing to do that theoretically, but in your mind, you might not be capable of executing it. Once you move into the real world, all that baggage may come right back down on you as much as you want to operate outside of it. Come on, Mel.
I ain't forgiving shit. You knew what you did when you double crossed me.
Oh, he's made it clear. He's back now.
You know what you did.
Hey, check this out. But here's what we're dealing with. I read this, and I started last week, man. I was just kind of in one of those moods, and I was like, you know what, dude? Anybody on social media, man, who is just putting out that really, really bad energy, I'm just getting ready to cut them. I don't care how long I've known you. I don't care how cute you are. I'm getting ready to cut you. I'm just done with that.
Well, but cute does matter.
Let me share. This is what somebody actually posted on their Instagram page and called it poetry. Glenn, are you afraid?
I'm laughing at Robert. No, Robert's like, if she cute, wait a minute, we need to negotiate. He'll negotiate with humans. If you're not
save the pictures before you cut them off. Save the pictures. Just go through and save your favorite pictures, and then
Rob is part of the problem. If you're cute, he's like, oh, we can work this out. If you're not too attractive, I'm done with you. I'm through. This is it.
Now Rob is trying to side deals. Hey, I can still come by on Sunday, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm forgiving every bad relationship except for the chick in the 8th grade that broke up with me after gave me a week. I ain't forgot that. You know what you did. Okay? I'm like Mel when it comes to that, okay?
So check this out. This is what I meant about somebody putting out a thought and then hearing somebody else echo it. And then they have now, gotten some steamroll and momentum. This babe actually posted this as a poem. Men and excuse the crassness of it.
She got poetic too.
Right. Poetic.
Men will take, break, and rape for a 5-minute nut bust. Men will cheat, beat, and repeat for a 5-minute nut bust. Men will lie, cry, and die for a 5-minute nut bust. Men will unintentionally create life and leave without thinking twice for a 5-minute nut bust. So more importantly, I often try to tell women, you have no idea what we see all day. You know what I'm saying? From women about us, and you want us to have these amicable opinions and spaces. Meanwhile, all day, every day, we're reading how women think we ain't shit.
You know how Mel said the truth.
But I'm just saying, it's still something you have to dilute. You know what I'm saying?
You know how Mel said the truth wasn't gonna happen, and he made the gang comparison. She'd be that one that was like, "Forget this, I'm gonna be shooting anyway."
Right.
She'd be that person why the truth can never happen. Those people like that. Her ghetto poem would be why the truth can never happen.
Kennery says she ignorant.
Basically.
Hey,
but again,
go ahead, Matthew. I'm sorry.
The evil people are going to be evil. And if we let them distract us from what our intentions are, what do we want? Always get clear on what you want. And then don't let the evil people stop you from getting that. We need to band together, both sides, and take out the evil people or put them over in a corner somewhere. Where the guns kept.
That's why you can't debate. I always say I don't debate stupid people. because they were stupid when I walked up, and after I talk to them, they're gonna be stupid when I leave. So why would I waste my energy? But I just think that we have to be, and I'm citing that because it's an extreme, real but extreme example. But what I really want to say is I think that we have to be. I think we need to be critical of each other, and a lot of times as men, when men are critical of women, it takes on a whole new energy, and women take it a lot more personally. But at the end of the day, I think that they need to be critical of us. We need to be critical of them, but it does not need to be an attack. We can do it with love and with respect and with challenge.
Yeah.
Because
what Shawn's saying is if we did a poem like that, y'all would stop watching the show.
Yeah.
We could never get away with doing that. We could never, ever get away with that. And like, I'm hoping nobody actually had sex with her because I'm hoping ignorance might be sexually transmitted when it comes to her. I'm really worried about that, the way she talked about it. So I don't know.
There's a lot of females.
That was good.
There's a lot of females that aren't women and a lot of males that are not men. And we need to learn how to differentiate between those two. Mm-hmm. There's not enough of us calling out the boys and the males and making sure that we establish that they're not one of us. So just we talk about black men and black women coming together, we need to cite that just because you're black and you're a female doesn't make you a black woman. Just because you're black and you're a male doesn't make you a black man. We need to really call that out. And, male knows like in a fraternity, difference between a cap and a noob.
We've talked about the accountability piece. You know what I'm saying? We've talked about that and how a lot of men are afraid to ostracize themselves, by expecting more from their brothers and holding them accountable for it. But, we're in too bad a state for that, and the stakes are too high, so we have to get past that, man. And we have to be willing to, to call each other out, man, and to demand more and better from each other. That's just the bottom line,
Let's turn the steering wheel for a second because we have a hard stop at 9:54. I want to jump into something that Gwen brought to the table in our notes for the show. How people say, it's never too late to start something, right? Ray Kroc didn't start McDonald's till he was in his 60s. And Colonel Sanders, who knows how old that bastard was when he stole the chicken recipe, you know what I mean? So there's this ideology among people, especially when it comes to success, right? It's never too late. You see people going back and getting their degrees at various ages. I graduated at 44 years old, or 40, was I 43? Yeah, 43 years old with 2 MBAs. Before I turned 44, but I was late in life. My last degree was 98. 98, and then 2020. However, when it comes to relationships and marriage, somehow it's too late for men to be serious about marriage when they get to a certain age. Or how come you ain't been serious all these years? Or why all of a sudden you done playing and all of this other stuff, when it could, in all actuality, be you just ain't found your person.
Right. And that's the reason why I asked that question, because it's like I see all these encouraging messages. There's a whole list of all these people that started things in their 40s and 50s and how they started over and they did wonderful things. And you talk to women about men, it's like, oh, you're 40? You're not married? You don't have kids? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You get that more. You get indicted for being passed for. Sometimes you get indicted at 35 and up.
I think there are two things at play. I think that there is always this stigma that women attach to men, that men play as long as they can before they settle down. And so it's almost like, a man, the allegation is that a man will meet a wife-worthy person, but he's not done running the street. So he keeps running the street until he gets tired, and then he settles down. And I think that's the voice that tries to challenge men, later in life about what they're doing. Like Mel said, I'm older, and it just never happened for me. If it does, cool, but it ain't. But I stopped. Man, I started being marriage minded in 2007, and all it really did was show me how much foolery women can be on. It had nothing to do with me playing, running the street, not wanting to stop being in the street. It had nothing to do with that. I was like, damn, women play these many games.
Well, I think there's a different perspective, which is men and women are playing on two different playing fields, with women from a biological perspective. And I think that for men, we have a lot more room and runway to make mistakes. So there's a lot of what we don't know that we don't know. But as you go through life, you make mistakes, you make adjustments. So by our 30s, by our 40s, we know the things that make us a better mate, a better partner. So whereas women know there's a biological clock ticking. While we don't hear that clock ticking, we're having fun. They understand that, and that puts them in a position where they have to take on the maturity level that they do from an age of 18, 19, 20, especially in the Black community, because women traditionally, if you go back, they're the ones who were going to school. They were pressured with going to college. Black men, we didn't get the same rewards. If we went to college and got a college degree, we get out, we wouldn't be able to get a job with a college degree. We might as well just have gotten a job, a regular job. So I think there's different things that's at play. If you go back into history and understand how what we're seeing now is just the fruit of what's happened, 40, 50, 60 years ago. And I think it just comes down to, are men going to change? Why would we change? I mean, if you have the time to experience life and you have no biological clock ticking, if you put that same criteria on the other side for women, would they change? I mean, if you knew you had a biological clock,
when
and
you say biological, though, you're really talking about the motherhood piece, right?
Right.
Yeah, but
I don't know that I think that the motherhood piece is the ultimate dictate for them. I really feel like for women there is a something that affirms them. Like I've always said, and I've watched this play out too, that a woman seems to be more affirmed by taking the ladies' man out of the streets because he loves her so much than championing the man who has no challenge like that.
Yeah,
loves her.
But that's the reverse of the trophy wife.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
the trophy husband. It's like I grabbed Mel Roberson. Look at all the stuff he's got going on. He probably had women reaching for him and clawing for, yes, I used you, and clawing for him. And girl, I won. I got the trophy. Mel's head on a stake, walking around.
But Glenn, it's not even just about his accolades. I've seen guys whose women is so bad that you would wonder how they could continue to get dates.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I know a cat that got 8 different kids by 8 different women.
Yeah.
How do you become 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8? So
because you always think you're going to change. Women have this thing in their head that they can change you no matter what. I don't care what you're out there doing. You can be the biggest one.
All the attention in the world. They go, he's not a challenge. He's too easy. He doesn't challenge me. Oh, girl, he's thirsty. But the dude who has all this going on from a lady's standpoint, they want to be the one to pull him out of that because it affirms them, and they say, "See, he gave up that life."
Yeah,
because this thing was on him so hard.
Taming only happens with pit bulls and horses. Women, those are the only animals you're gonna be able to tame and bring.
The human factor is the one something that you are not supposed to have.
You want that just out of reach.
Yeah,
that's definitely a part of it.
That's why
at this age,
we want the most beautiful woman. I mean, because that kind of affirms you too.
That affirms us.
Like, I never understood the value of a good-looking woman until I brought a good-looking woman around my other male friends. It was like, oh, I know I like the good-looking woman, but then when you bring around your friends, you're like, dang, this is even better.
But you know what? The best way to get attention from women: walk in a room with a good-looking woman.
I mean, that too.
Yeah.
I was
getting ready to say, I have never been flirted with or have had women be aggressive about their interest in me like they are when I'm in a relationship and my lady is considered bad. Like, dude, I have never gotten the attention that I have when my lady is, you know, can walk in a room and shut it down. I'm like, I'm like Mike Jones. Back then,
first you wouldn't want me, now you
right.
What?
That's what happened. That's what happened with my DMs. That's what happened with my DMs.
Oh, damn. Okay, Robert.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
That in this show, you know, that in the show. Is that what you were saying, Robert?
You're welcome, Robert. You're welcome.
Yeah, that's what happened with the DMs, Robert. It's us, okay?
Oh, okay. It was hard.
I don't know. I didn't. Okay. Hey, I didn't because I missed the green room. I don't know what Matthew's situation is, but I got a feeling that if he's available, I believe his DM's about to blow all up. My gut tells me he's not available, but boy, good. I'm okay. Good.
I changed shirts because I knew Matthew was coming. You know, so I just decided, you know, we got all these pretty boys up in here. You know, I'm like, hey, I need some attention tonight.
Yeah. Dude, I like books, man. I like to read. I'm not a pretty boy.
Hey, I'm a pretty boy and I like to read. So
hey.
I'm just a poor simple Southern boy.
Sometimes you're a pretty boy, whether you want to be one or not. You're a pretty boy.
Yeah, I'm just a poor simple Southern boy trying to make it in the big city. That's all. I'm a humble man.
Hey, Matthew, I'm an animal with pretty boy ways. You know.
I didn't have no choice. I had to be an animal.
You did. You really did not.
No. I'm talking about no.
3 minutes. 3 minutes, gentlemen. 3 minutes. What we gonna do?
So do we want to talk about Derek with you know, there was a guy that gave a lot of relationship advice to women, and we find out that he's been caught cheating. You want to talk about
we
that?
can't cover that in 3 minutes, dog.
Yeah, I don't think you cover anything in 3 minutes, especially with stuff I got written down.
Closing statements, guys. What do you want to leave the people with?
Tune in next week and we will talk about Derek.
Yeah, I got some juicy stuff written down that 3 minutes ain't even gonna tease it. But hey, man, thank you all for being patient with me, man. I had an earlier obligation that I couldn't get out of, so I was trying to get back as quickly as I could. Matthew, man, you were awesome. I had a feeling that you were gonna be, because there seemed to be this buzz about you being with us this week, man, and you didn't disappoint, man. I'm hoping that you will be open to coming back and hanging out with us again. I think you embody a lot of what this show stands for. The commonality that we have does not dictate the fact that we don't always agree and we don't always see everything the same way, and there's room for all of those opinions. And so I appreciate you coming in and chopping it up with us, man. And
Say it quickly, Shawn. Say it quickly.
Right. He's like, yeah, that's all cool. Wrap it up.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Anyway, man, it's been a blast. Matthew, don't leave. Don't leave. Hang out for a second after we get out of here. Everybody watching, we so appreciate you guys. We hope you shared the show and continue to help us build the viewership. And we'll catch you guys next Saturday in the cave for sure.
Camped out at home for COVID? Join us, Indie TV, where you will see the talk shows, movies, drama, action, and comedy. Be the first and see it first. Sign up now for free at Indie TV.